Alright, sorry about that. I had to rescue a mouse from my cat. She just caught a little baby mouse, so I was trying to keep her from killing it. So sorry about that. So anyway, so now we wanted to go back to calculating the home price or the sample mean, the sample standard deviation for each. So while I took that little pause break, I went ahead and entered all the data in list one and list two. So if we go back to our calculator, so remember, if you forget how to get into the list, what we do is we just hit stat and then edit, and then you just start typing in the data. So I went ahead and put them both in each one because eventually I'm going to show you something else that you can use on the calculator. So I want to go ahead and have that data in there so you could see it. So at this point, what we want to do is now we need to calculate the sample mean and sample standard deviation for list one, and then we're going to do the same thing for list two. So if we hit second quit to go back to the main, then go to stats, and then calc, and then one var stats. So in this case, we want to calculate list one. So hit second one, and then hit enter. So we see our sample mean is 2891.25. So let's write that down first. 2891.25. And then our sample standard deviation is going to be the SX, so 269.49. And then our sample mean for Y, so now we need to calculate that. So again, go to stat, go to calc, go to one var stats, but in this case we want to hit second two for list two, and then hit enter. So we see our mean is 447, and our standard deviation is 29.68. All right. So now we've got a lot of work to do because we've got to basically calculate all these different tables and stuff like that. So it takes a little bit of time here. So our X is just all these different input values. So in this case, we'd get 2521, 2555, 2735, 2846, 3028, 3049, 3198, and then another 3198. And we want to make sure we match the Y's up. So in this case, we've got 400, 426, 428, 435, 469, 475, 488, and 455. So the first thing we're going to do is do all the X minus the X means in this case. So in this case, so I'm just going to do like the first row across first, just so you can kind of see what's going on. And then eventually we're going to sum all these, the last row together, and then we're going to divide it by 1 over n minus 1. So let me first just go through and kind of calculate the first part here. So we're going to do 2521 minus, so 2521 minus 2891.25, which gives us negative 370. Oops, I put it in the wrong spot. 0.25. And so now do the same thing for the Y. So in this case, we're going to get 400 minus 447. So that's going to give us a negative 47. So now we're just going to take this number and divide it by the standard deviation for X. So in this case, take the negative 370.25 divided by our standard deviation, which is 269.49. So we get negative 1.374. And then we do the same thing for the Y's in this case. So we're going to get negative 47 divided by 29.68. So negative 1.484. So notice in this case, ultimately, we don't want these numbers to be positive because again, we're taking like the differences of the differences, but we're not squaring them or anything like that. But because of the way these means are going to work and where they're located, we should always end up with two negatives or two positives in this case. So in this case, we'll get negative 1.374 times negative 1.584. So we get 2.176. And then now do the same thing again. So we want to do the same thing for 255 and 426. So again, we do 255 minus 2891.25. So we get negative 336.25. And then 426 minus 447 is negative 21. And now divide each of these by their square root. So negative 336.25 divided by 269.49 gives us negative 1.248. And then negative 21 divided by 29.68 gives us negative 0.708. And then again, multiply these two numbers together. So negative 1.248 times negative 0.708. So we get 0.884. And then keep going. So it might actually make more sense to do like all the x's and then do the y's. So because I keep going back and forth, so that way you can kind of like you already have the number in there and can divide it. So in this case, 2735 minus 2891.25 is going to be negative 156.25. And then let's go ahead and just divide that by the standard deviation since we've got it in there. So 269.49 gives us negative 0.57. I guess that would round up to negative 0.58 in this case. So now let's do the y's. So 428 minus 447 gives us negative 19. Divide that by the standard deviation, so 29.68 gives us negative 0.640. So again, multiply these two guys together times negative 0.64 gives us 0.371. And we'll just kind of keep going at this point. So let me stop the video here. Let me finish this offline so that way I don't bore you guys to tears with this. And then we'll come back and finish it up.